Imagine a world untouched by modern cities, where vast forests, towering mountains, and endless plains were home to thriving civilizations. A world where the sounds of bustling markets, ceremonial drums, and whispered prayers filled the air. This is the story of ancient Brazil and Argentina, two regions with rich histories that have often been overshadowed by the tales of the Inca, Maya, and Aztec. But today, we're diving deep into the lesser-known, yet equally fascinating cultures that once called these lands home. From the Amazon to the Pampas, let's uncover how these ancient peoples lived, interacted, and shaped the world we know today. Long before European explorers set foot on South American soil, this continent was a mosaic of diverse cultures, each with its own unique traditions, beliefs, and ways of life. In Brazil, the Amazon rainforest was not just a wilderness, it was a thriving hub of human activity. And in Argentina, the vast grasslands and rugged mountains were home to societies that mastered agriculture, warfare, and art. These civilizations may not have built towering pyramids or sprawling stone cities, but their achievements were no less remarkable. Hi everyone, welcome to Channel Name. I'm Your Name, and today we're embarking on a 2-hour journey through time to explore the ancient civilizations of Brazil and Argentina. This isn't just a history lesson, it's an adventure. We'll uncover the secrets of the Marajoara culture, who created stunning pottery in the heart of the Amazon. We'll meet the Sambaqui people, who built massive shell mounds along the coast. And we'll travel to Argentina, where the Diaguita and Mapuche forged powerful societies in the shadow of the Andes. But this video isn't just about individual cultures, it's about connections. How did these ancient peoples interact with one another? What did they trade, and what did they fight over? How did their stories intertwine to create the rich tapestry of South American history? These are the questions we'll answer as we explore the ancient worlds of Brazil and Argentina. Let's start with Brazil, a land of unparalleled biodiversity and home to some of the most intriguing ancient cultures in South America. One of the most remarkable civilizations was the Marajoara culture, which flourished on Marajo Island in the Amazon Delta around 400 to 1400 CE. Known for their elaborate pottery, the Marajoara people created intricate designs that depicted animals, humans, and spiritual symbols. These artifacts suggest a complex society with a deep connection to their environment. Further south, along the Atlantic coast, we find the Sambaqui people, who lived as early as 8,000 years ago. These coastal dwellers built massive shell mounds, some reaching over 100 feet in height. These mounds served as burial sites, ceremonial centers, and even garbage dumps. The Sambaqui people were skilled fishermen and hunters, relying on the rich resources of the ocean and forests. And then there were the Tupi-Guarani, one of the most widespread indigenous groups in Brazil. Known for their agricultural skills, the Tupi-Guarani cultivated crops like maize, cassava, and sweet potatoes. They also had a rich oral tradition, passing down stories of creation, heroes, and spirits through generations. Their influence extended far beyond Brazil, shaping the cultures of neighboring regions, including Argentina. Now, let's travel south to Argentina, a land of diverse landscapes and ancient cultures. In the northwest, the Diaguita people thrived in the Andean valleys. Skilled farmers, they built terraces to grow crops like maize, beans, and squash. The Diaguita were also fierce warriors, defending their lands against invaders and forming alliances with neighboring tribes. Further east, in the vast Pampas grasslands, the Querandí people lived as nomadic hunters. They relied on the guanaco, a relative of the llama, for food and materials. The Querandí were known for their adaptability, moving with the seasons to follow game and resources. And in the southern regions, the Mapuche people extended their influence from Chile into Argentina. The Mapuche were renowned for their resistance to outside forces, including the Inca and later the Spanish. Their society was organized around clans, and they had a rich tradition of storytelling and craftsmanship. While Brazil and Argentina are separated by vast distances, evidence suggests that these ancient cultures were not isolated. Trade networks connected the Amazon to the Andes, allowing for the exchange of goods, ideas, and traditions. Pottery styles, tools, and even spiritual symbols show striking similarities across regions, hinting at a shared cultural heritage. Of course, interactions weren't always peaceful. Territorial disputes and competition for resources often led to conflicts. Yet, alliances were also formed, with tribes banding together to face common threats. These complex relationships shaped the history of South America long before European contact. The arrival of Europeans in the 16th century marked the beginning of the end for many of these ancient civilizations. Diseases, warfare, and forced assimilation decimated indigenous populations. Yet, despite these challenges, many cultures survived, adapting to the new world while preserving their traditions. Today, the legacy of these ancient peoples lives on in the languages, customs, and traditions of modern Brazil and Argentina. By understanding their history, we can honor their contributions and ensure that their stories are never forgotten. So why does this matter? Why should we care about civilizations that existed thousands of years ago? The answer is simple: because their stories are our stories. The ancient peoples of Brazil and Argentina were innovators, artists, warriors, and dreamers. They shaped the land, the culture, and the history of South America in ways that still resonate today. By learning about them, we gain a deeper understanding of who we are and where we come from. Let's begin our journey in Brazil, a land of unparalleled biodiversity and home to some of the most intriguing ancient cultures in South America. From the dense Amazon rainforest to the sprawling Atlantic coast, Brazil was a cradle of civilization long before European contact. Today, we'll explore three of its most remarkable ancient cultures: the Marauara, the Sambaqui, and the Tupi-Guarani. Each of these societies left behind a legacy that continues to fascinate archaeologists and historians to this day. The Marajoara culture, Amazon. Our first stop is the Amazon, where the Marajoara culture thrived on Marajo Island, located at the mouth of the Amazon River. Flourishing between 400 and 1400 CE, the Marajoara were master potters and mound builders, creating some of the most intricate and beautiful artifacts in ancient South America. The Marajoara are best known for their elaborate pottery, which features intricate designs of animals, humans, and geometric patterns. These designs weren't just decorative, they told stories, conveyed spiritual beliefs, and reflected the Marajoara's deep connection to their environment. Some of the most striking pieces include urns, used for burials, which were often adorned with symbols of life, death, and rebirth. But the Marajoara weren't just artists. They were also engineers. They built massive earth mounds, some reaching up to 60 feet in height. These mounds served multiple purposes. They elevated villages above the floodwaters of the Amazon, provided a vantage point for defense, and were used as ceremonial centers. The largest mounds even housed elite residences, suggesting a complex social hierarchy. Archaeologists believe the Marajoara were a highly organized society, with specialized roles for farmers, artisans, and leaders. They cultivated crops like maize, manioc, and squash, and their diet was supplemented by fishing and hunting. The Amazon provided everything they needed, from food to materials for their crafts. One of the most fascinating aspects of the Marajoara is their spirituality. Their art and burial practices suggest a belief in an afterlife and a deep reverence for nature. Many of their pottery designs depict animals like jaguars, snakes, and birds, which were likely seen as spiritual guides or protectors. The Marajoara's connection to the natural world is a theme we'll see echoed in other ancient Brazilian cultures. The Sambaqui people, coastal regions. Now let's travel to the Atlantic coast, where the Sambaqui people lived as early as 8,000 years ago. The Sambaqui, whose name comes from the Tupi word for shell mound, are best known for their massive shell middens, piles of shells, bones, and other debris that accumulated over centuries. Some of these mounds are over 100 feet tall and span several acres, making them some of the largest archaeological sites in Brazil. But these mounds weren't just garbage dumps, they were ceremonial centers and burial sites. The Sambaqui buried their dead within the mounds, often with grave goods like tools, jewelry, and animal bones. These burials suggest a belief in an afterlife and a complex funerary tradition. Some skeletons show signs of intentional deformation, a practice that may have been used to signify status or identity. The Sambaqui were skilled fishermen and hunters, relying on the rich resources of the ocean and coastal forests. They used nets, hooks, and traps to catch fish, and they hunted animals like deer and wild boar. Their diet was incredibly diverse, and they even harvested shellfish like oysters and clams, which contributed to the growth of their shell mounds. One of the most intriguing aspects of the Sambaqui is their art and symbolism. They created small stone sculptures, known as zoomorphs, which depict animals like fish, birds, and mammals. These sculptures may have had spiritual or ritual significance, reflecting the Sambaqui's connection to the natural world. Despite their achievements, the Sambaqui culture began to decline around 1,000 years ago, possibly due to environmental changes or the arrival of new groups. But their legacy lives on in the massive shell mounds that still dot the Brazilian coast, offering a glimpse into a way of life that existed for thousands of years. The Tupi-Guarani. Finally, we come to the Tupi-Guarani, one of the most widespread and influential indigenous groups in Brazil. The Tupi-Guarani were not a single tribe, but a collection of related peoples who shared a common language and culture. They inhabited much of Brazil's coastline and interior, from the Amazon to the southern plains. The Tupi-Guarani were master farmers, cultivating crops like maize, cassava, and sweet potatoes. They used a technique called slash-and-burn agriculture, clearing small patches of forest and rotating their fields to maintain soil fertility. This sustainable approach allowed them to thrive in diverse environments, from the rainforest to the savanna. But the Tupi-Guarani were more than just farmers. They were also skilled warriors and traders. They engaged in frequent conflicts with neighboring tribes, often taking prisoners who were later integrated into their society or used in rituals. At the same time, they maintained extensive trade networks, exchanging goods like pottery, feathers, and precious stones. One of the most fascinating aspects of the Tupi-Guarani is their oral tradition. They passed down stories of creation, heroes, and spirits through generations, preserving their history and beliefs in the absence of writing. Many of these stories revolve around nature and the spiritual world, reflecting the Tupi-Guarani's deep connection to their environment. The Tupi-Guarani also had a rich spiritual life. They believed in a pantheon of gods and spirits, including Tupa, the god of thunder, and Guarachi, the sun god. Shamans played a central role in their society, acting as intermediaries between the human and spiritual worlds. Rituals often involved music, dance, and the use of hallucinogenic plants to communicate with the spirits. Daily life, agriculture, and spirituality. Across these three cultures, Marajoara, Sambaqui, and Tupi-Guarani, we see common themes of adaptation, innovation, and spirituality. Each group developed unique ways of living in harmony with their environment, whether it was the Amazon rainforest, the Atlantic coast, or the Brazilian interior. Agriculture played a central role in their lives, providing not just food, but also a foundation for their societies. The Marajoara cultivated crops in the fertile floodplains of the Amazon. The Sambaki relied on the bounty of the ocean, and the Tupi-Guarani mastered slash-and-burn farming. These agricultural practices allowed their populations to grow and their cultures to flourish. Spirituality was equally important, shaping their art, rituals, and daily lives. Whether it was the Marajoara's intricate pottery, the Sambaqui's burial mounds, or the Tupi-Guarani's oral traditions, each culture expressed its beliefs in ways that were deeply tied to the natural world. Archaeological discoveries and their significance. The study of these ancient cultures has been revolutionized by archaeology. Excavations of Marajoara mounds have revealed stunning pottery and evidence of complex social structures. The Sambaqui shell mounds have provided insights into their diet, burial practices, and artistic traditions, and the Tupi-Guarani's oral histories have been complemented by archaeological finds of tools, pottery, and settlements. These discoveries are not just academic, they help us understand the resilience and creativity of ancient peoples. They remind us that long before European contact, Brazil was home to vibrant, sophisticated societies that thrived in some of the most challenging environments on Earth. This script provides a comprehensive overview of Brazil's ancient civilizations, blending historical facts with engaging storytelling. Let me know if you'd like to expand on any specific section. Now, let's travel south to Argentina, a land of diverse landscapes and ancient cultures. From the towering Andes Mountains to the vast Pampas grasslands, Argentina was home to thriving civilizations long before European contact. Today, we'll explore three of its most remarkable ancient cultures: the Diaguita, the Querandí, and the Mapuche. Each of these groups adapted to their environment in unique ways, leaving behind a legacy that continues to fascinate us today. The Diaguita, skilled farmers and warriors in the Andes. Our journey begins in the northwest of Argentina, where the Diaguita people thrived in the Andean valleys. The Diaguita were skilled farmers, growing crops like maize, beans, and squash in the fertile valleys. To make the most of the rugged terrain, they built terraces on the mountainsides, creating flat areas for farming and preventing soil erosion. This innovative approach allowed them to thrive in an otherwise challenging environment. But the Diaguita weren't just farmers, they were also fierce warriors. They defended their lands against invaders, including the Inca Empire, which attempted to conquer their territory in the 15th century. The Diaguita resisted fiercely, using their knowledge of the terrain to their advantage. They built fortified settlements and formed alliances with neighboring tribes to strengthen their defenses. The Diaguita were also skilled artisans, known for their pottery and metalwork. They created beautiful ceramics with geometric designs and used copper and bronze to make tools, weapons, and jewelry. Their art reflects a deep connection to their environment and a sophisticated understanding of materials. Spirituality played an important role in Diaguita life. They believed in a world filled with spirits and deities, and their rituals often involved offerings to the earth and sky. The mountains, rivers, and stars were seen as sacred, and their art and ceremonies reflected this reverence for nature. The Querandí, nomadic hunters of the Pampas. Next, we travel to the Pampas, the vast grasslands of central Argentina, where the Querandí people lived as nomadic hunters. The Querandí were masters of their environment, relying on the guanaco, a relative of the llama, for food, clothing, and tools. They hunted with bows and arrows and used every part of the animal, wasting nothing. The Querandí were highly mobile, moving with the seasons to follow game and resources. They lived in temporary shelters made of animal hides and wooden frames, which could be easily dismantled and transported. This nomadic lifestyle allowed them to thrive in the open grasslands, where resources were spread out and unpredictable. Despite their nomadic ways, the Querandí had a rich cultural life. They told stories around campfires, passed down through generations, and created tools and weapons that were both functional and beautifully crafted. Their connection to the land was profound, and they saw themselves as part of the natural world rather than separate from it. The arrival of Europeans in the 16th century brought dramatic changes to the Querendee way of life. Conflicts with Spanish settlers and the introduction of horses transformed their society, but their legacy lives on in the traditions of the Pampas and the stories of their resilience. The Mapuche, a powerful culture that extended into Argentina. Finally, we come to the Mapuche, a powerful culture that originated in what is now Chile but extended into Argentina. The Mapuche were known for their fierce resistance to outside forces, including the Inca and later the Spanish. They were skilled warriors, using tactics like ambushes and guerrilla warfare to defend their lands. The Mapuche were also skilled farmers, growing crops like maize, potatoes, and quinoa. They raised animals like llamas and alpacas for wool and meat, and they traded with neighboring tribes for goods like pottery, feathers, and precious stones. Their society was organized around clans, with each clan led by a chief who made decisions in consultation with elders. One of the most fascinating aspects of Mapuche culture is their spirituality. They believed in a world filled with spirits and deities, and their rituals often involved offerings to the earth and sky. The Mapuche also had a rich tradition of storytelling, passing down myths and legends that explained the origins of the world and their place in it. The Mapuche's resistance to colonization is legendary. They fought fiercely against the Spanish, using their knowledge of the land and their unity as a people to hold off invaders for centuries. Even today, the Mapuche continue to fight for their rights and preserve their culture, making them one of the most enduring indigenous groups in South America. Daily life, trade, and conflict. Across these three cultures, Diaguita, Querendee, and Mapuche, we see common themes of adaptation, resilience, and connection to the land. Each group developed unique ways of living in harmony with their environment, whether it was the Andean valleys, the Pampas grasslands, or the southern forests. Trade was an important part of life for these cultures. The Diaguita traded with neighboring tribes and even the Inca, exchanging goods like pottery, tools, and food. The Querendee traded animal hides and meat with other groups, while the Mapuche traded wool, textiles, and metals. These trade networks connected distant regions and allowed for the exchange of ideas and traditions. Conflict was also a reality of life. The Diaguita fought off Inca invasions, the Querendee clashed with Spanish settlers, and the Mapuche resisted colonization for centuries. These conflicts shaped their societies and tested their resilience, but they also forged strong identities and a deep connection to their land. How geography shaped their societies. The geography of Argentina played a key role in shaping these ancient cultures. The Diaguita thrived in the Andean valleys, where terraced farming and irrigation allowed them to grow crops in a rugged landscape. The Querendee adapted to the open pampas, developing a nomadic lifestyle that allowed them to follow game and resources. And the Mapuche used the forests and mountains of the south to their advantage, building a society that was both agricultural and warrior-like. Each group's way of life was deeply tied to their environment. The Diaguita's terraces, the Querendee's mobility, and the Mapuche's resistance all reflect a profound understanding of the land and its resources. This connection to the environment is a theme that runs through the history of ancient Argentina and continues to inspire us today. While Brazil and Argentina are separated by vast distances, evidence suggests that their ancient cultures were not isolated. Trade networks, shared traditions, and even conflicts connected these regions, creating a complex web of interactions that shaped the history of South America. Let's explore how these ancient civilizations influence one another and what their relationships tell us about the pre-Columbian world. Evidence of trade and cultural exchange. One of the most compelling pieces of evidence for interaction between ancient Brazil and Argentina is the presence of shared artifacts. Archaeologists have found similarities in pottery, tools, and art across these regions, suggesting that ideas and goods traveled far and wide. For example, the intricate pottery of the Marajoara culture in Brazil shares design elements with ceramics found in northwestern Argentina, hinting at a possible exchange of artistic traditions. Trade routes likely followed rivers and natural pathways, connecting the Amazon basin to the Andean valleys. The Paraná and Paraguay rivers, which flow through both Brazil and Argentina, may have served as highways for trade. Goods like feathers, shells, precious stones, and even food items could have been exchanged along these routes, fostering cultural connections between distant groups. Another fascinating example is the use of lithic materials, or stone tools. Certain types of stone, like obsidian, were highly valued for making sharp tools and weapons. Archaeologists have found obsidian artifacts in Brazil that originated from quarries in Argentina, proving that these materials traveled hundreds of miles through trade networks. Conflicts and alliances. Of course, interactions weren't always peaceful. Territorial disputes and competition for resources often led to conflicts. For example, the Diaguita of Argentina were known for their fierce resistance to outside forces, including neighboring tribes and the Inca Empire. Similarly, the Tupi-Guarani of Brazil were skilled warriors who frequently clashed with other groups over land and resources. Yet, alliances also played a key role in shaping relationships. Tribes often banded together to face common threats or to strengthen their position in trade networks. For instance, the Mapuche of Argentina formed alliances with other groups to resist Inca and later Spanish incursions. These alliances were often cemented through marriage, trade agreements, or shared rituals. The role of language and oral traditions. Language and oral traditions also played a crucial role in connecting cultures. The Tupi-Guarani language, spoken by many groups in Brazil, influenced neighboring regions, including parts of Argentina. This linguistic connection facilitated trade and communication, allowing ideas and stories to spread across vast distances. Oral traditions, such as myths and legends, often shared common themes. Stories of creation, heroes, and spirits were passed down through generations, creating a shared cultural heritage. For example, many indigenous groups in both Brazil and Argentina told stories of a great flood or a hero who brought fire to humanity. These shared narratives suggest a deep connection between these cultures, even if they were geographically distant. The arrival of Europeans and the end of an era, 1 hour 20 minutes to 1 hour 45 minutes. Narrator, voiceover. The arrival of Europeans in the 16th century marked a turning point for the indigenous cultures of Brazil and Argentina. Colonization brought dramatic changes, from the introduction of new diseases to the imposition of foreign rule. Let's explore how this era of upheaval impacted ancient societies and what legacy they left behind. The impact of European colonization. The first contact with Europeans was devastating for many indigenous groups. Diseases like smallpox, measles, and influenza spread rapidly, decimating populations that had no immunity. In some cases, entire villages were wiped out, leaving behind empty lands and abandoned settlements. European settlers also sought to exploit the resources of the New World, leading to violent conflicts with indigenous peoples. The enslavement of native populations, the destruction of their lands, and the imposition of European customs and religion further eroded traditional ways of life. Many indigenous groups were forced to assimilate or retreat into remote areas to survive. How ancient cultures were erased, assimilated, or survived. Despite these challenges, some indigenous cultures managed to survive and adapt. In Brazil, the Tupi-Guarani and other groups resisted colonization through warfare, diplomacy, and retreat. In Argentina, the Mapuche famously held off Spanish forces for centuries, becoming one of the most resilient indigenous groups in South America. Other cultures were assimilated into colonial society, blending their traditions with European customs. For example, many indigenous practices, such as farming techniques and medicinal knowledge, were adopted by settlers and continue to influence modern life in Brazil and Argentina. Yet, the erasure of indigenous cultures remains a tragic legacy of colonization. Many languages, traditions, and histories were lost, leaving gaps in our understanding of these ancient societies. Today, efforts are being made to preserve and revive indigenous cultures, but the scars of colonization run deep. The legacy of these civilizations in modern Brazil and Argentina. Despite the challenges of colonization, the legacy of ancient Brazil and Argentina lives on. Indigenous languages, art, and traditions continue to shape the cultural identity of these nations. For example, the Tupi-Guarani language has influenced Brazilian Portuguese, and Mapuche traditions are celebrated in southern Argentina. Archaeological discoveries also keep these ancient cultures alive. Sites like the Marajoara mounds in Brazil and the Diaguita settlements in Argentina offer a glimpse into the past, reminding us of the ingenuity and resilience of these societies. Museums and cultural institutions play a key role in preserving and sharing this history with the world. As we come to the end of our journey through the ancient worlds of Brazil and Argentina, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've learned. From the intricate pottery of the Marajoara to the fierce resistance of the Mapuche, these cultures remind us of the richness and diversity of human history. Recap of key points. We explored the daily lives of the Marajoara, Sambaqui, and Tupi-Guarani in Brazil, and the Diaguita, Querandí, and Mapuche in Argentina. We saw how these groups adapted to their environments, built thriving societies, and interacted with one another through trade, conflict, and shared traditions. We also examined the impact of European colonization and the enduring legacy of these ancient cultures. Reflection on the importance of preserving indigenous history. Understanding these ancient civilizations is not just about learning history. It's about honoring the people who shaped the world we live in today. Their stories remind us of the resilience and creativity of humanity, and they challenge us to think about how we can preserve and protect indigenous cultures in the modern world. Call to action. If you enjoyed this deep dive into ancient South America, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more historical content. Your support helps us continue to explore and share these incredible stories. Teaser for the next video. In our next video, we'll travel to the Andes to uncover the secrets of the Inca Empire, one of the most powerful civilizations in history. From Machu Picchu to the mysteries of their downfall, you won't want to miss it. Until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
How you do? Honey, how you do? I'm a stone cold stunner from the south of coming through. I got packs, I gotta move. I got packs, I gotta move. You a time I can't deny. I think I'm kinda feeling you. Yup. How you do? Honey, how you do? I'm a stone cold stunner from the south of coming through. I got packs, I gotta move. I got packs, I gotta move. You a time I can't deny. I think I'm kinda feeling you. Yup. 24, I'm lurking corners with my 45. Packing stash of paper, please don't touch me. I'm just trying to ride. Ain't no out that window. I'm murderous, drop tempo. Two-stepping with aggression, so I think you know the biz, yo. How I do up in the cut, I'm creeper, peeping on a profit base. Be knocking steady, popping with some chips up in my pocket now. Deal, honey, watch me post up a groove. You know how I go with you, now that the scared up and move. Yup, gazing at the seventh movie, passing through the nine. So we go with 60, shawty, know she never had to slide. Passion with them roses, blushing, turning into ecstasy. You looking at the gems of spirit, can you bend it next to me? The shadows dancing, turning emotions. They steady growing, watch the motion steady flowing and pulsing. Come out in potion with the toss up to the heavens. We building up on a fantasy. Now go and take the wheel and go take us to where the dreaming be. How you do? Honey, how you do? I'm a stone cold stunner from the south of coming through. I got packs, I gotta move. I got packs, I gotta move. You a time I can't deny. I think I'm kinda feeling you. Yup. How you do? Honey, how you do? I'm a stone cold stunner from the south of coming through. I got packs, I gotta move. I got packs, I gotta move. You a time I can't deny. I think I'm kinda feeling you. Yup.
Kill they damn She gon' light up like Beirut, leaving niggas on their back. From this regular gang, under the town flowers for my niggas, but I'm fixing on your tombstone. Pop that trunk and tell your ass, you gon' be a victim, hoe. This the end of your life, cause all you got is a pocket knife. Looking for the folks to bear you back, and shit, but now you do. Trying to cop a back up like the motherfucking cops do. Drop you off into a river, niggas that's the plan. Swim back to the bank, put your face on track. You can dead on the ground, but that's the way you gon' get off. I can't really count the niggas in the field that we killed and niggas.